The boy thinks he could get away without uploading in less than a week, huh? I'ma show him what's up. Oh no.
Should my next idea be, bro? I feel like.
Where the video
What
at?
the hell?
Where the video at?
What the hell are you
Where's the
talking
video
about? What
I'm talking
video?
about the PvP video. Where's
What?
the bro? You're literally sitting at your desk not doing anything. You're not editing. You're not uploading. You're not giving us a reason, bro. Like do something. You NPC.
How did you get in my house?
Don't worry about that. Where's the video? Where's the video?
I'll work on it. I'll work on it.
Exactly. Exactly. And it should be done by the end of this week, okay?
Okay.
Exactly.
What the hell?
Alright, I should be running now. Alright, hey guys, today I'll be explaining blurry Java PvP and how to master the newest techniques. But, hold up. Let me make sure that there's no one here. Alright, I think we're good. Alright, but the way I'm going to be teaching you guys these techniques is by using different difficulties. These difficulties being basic, the easiest to pull off, then advanced being medium difficulty, then combat master being the hardest to pull off. Alright, now that you know the way that I'm going to tell you guys these techniques, now I can show you guys actually how to pull these off.
Leave a record of your call. Please state your message at the sound.
The easiest way to stun slam is by wind charging you and your opponent up, and then switch to your axe and then spam click with your mace to perform an easy stun slam. The next way on how to stun slam is by wind charging yourself up, holding the axe and then spam clicking with the mace, performing a normal stun slam. Now for combat master, you have to wind charge up, hold the axe, hit with the spear, and then mace, performing a combat master stun slam. The next tech I'll be teaching you guys is Elytra mace. Also, Elytra mace is very hard to do, so it will take practice. So don't get mad if you can't pull it off, even if it's basic. What you do to perform a basic Elytra mace is equip the Elytra, firework up, put the chestplate on, aim, Elytra, then mace. Now to do an advance is to perform a basic one, then what you do is firework down right after, put the chestplate on, then mace, performing an advanced Elytra mace. There's actually another form of advanced Elytra macing that's actually harder to do. To perform this advanced Elytra mace, what you have to do is quickly perform a basic Elytra mace, then immediately equip your Elytra, glide down, put your chestplate on, then mace. But really this is only helpful if you're a conservative player, so if you want to do this you could, but you really don't have to. To perform a combat master Elytra mace, first you perform an advanced Elytra mace, equip your Elytra, glide down, then equip your chestplate, then mace. By the way, you can do this infinitely if you stay in the air. Just make sure that you're always hitting and aiming on your opponent, seen here inside of this video that I'm showing. The next technique I'll be telling you guys doesn't really have any other difficulty level, this technique being breach swapping. To perform a breach swap, all you have to do is switch from one item to the mace, then immediately hit, and then switch back to the original item, performing a very high amount of damage while being at a low cooldown. Alright, now that I talked about every single technique I know with mace, we can move on to the next weapon that we're going to learn about, which will be spear. The first technique I'll be teaching you guys about the spear is a technique I like to call reach abusing. It's a technique where you combine the attributes of a spear with the attributes of a different item to use a different attack with a reach. So to perform this, when charge up the spear, then switch to the axe, disabling shields through cobwebs. You can also do this with the mace by charging up the spear and then switching to it the last second. The next technique on spear is a technique called spear lunging, or spear dashing, I don't know. But anyways, basically what you do is perform a spear lunge, but immediately switch to a different item to get rid of its cooldown. But if you want to get real technical with it, what you could do is a double spear lunge, where you do it as quickly as possible in order to get the most distance. Now that we talked about spear dashing, we can talk about lunge spearing, a technique where you cancel out the elytra, hit with the spear to lunge, and then immediately equip the elytra again to start zooming and start charging up the spear. Now that we're done with spear, we can finally move on to the next game mode, which will be cart. Cart, otherwise known as TNT minecart, is a game mode that relies on catching your opponent before they can even react. To perform a basic TNT minecart, place a rail, then a TNT minecart, then shoot the bow. But a problem with the basic TNT minecart is that they would have too much reaction time in order to counter it. To perform an advanced minecart, place the rail, then shoot the bow, then place the TNT minecart while the arrow's in the air. The problem with this though is that there's still time to react to the technique. So a solution to this is instacarting. Shoot the bow, then place the rail and minecart at the same time while the arrow's still in the air, performing a TNT minecart. Another technique you can do in cart is a technique called double carting. It's where when you're in a hole, you double cart instantly so your opponent gets killed. Now for the technique expo carting. Expo carting is where you place a rail, then the TNT minecart, then put the fire down, then shoot the crossbow into the fire, exploding the TNT minecart on impact. But as you can see inside that video, I'm not really that skilled at it, so like, just look up on how to do it really good. Anyways, now that y'all know how to actually explode carts, we need to know how to counter them too. The easiest way to counter cart is by using blocks. Blocks being the most easiest resource to get since, you know, it's a block game. The next counter to cart is shield, since it blocks every amount of damage inside of the game. Now this is where it starts to get technical. Blast prod, allowing you to be protected by any explosion damage inside of the game while taking a lot of damage from melee attacks. Now that we finally talked about cart, I bet this is the most one that y'all want to talk about now. We're finally going to be talking about Diamond SMP. Before we talk about techniques, I'm going to be talking about playstyles. Playstyles is the way a player plays inside of a certain situation. There are mainly three main playstyles: aggressive, passive, and survivor. The difference between them is aggressive plays with a lot of webs and ender pearls a lot. Aggressive players will also fight with very low health and try to go for more shield disables. Here's how to play like an aggressive player. The first thing that we'll be learning is disabling shields. See, when holding an axe, you get a tag named axe, allowing you to be able to disable shields. Abusing this feature, you can hold out the axe and then hit with the sword to still disable shields. This is very effective if your opponent likes to shield spam a lot. You can catch them off guard by disabling their shield with the technique. Now for a technique I call sprint webbing. Sprint webbing is the technique where you immediately sprint hit your opponent, then aim at their feet and place a cobweb to get them stuck inside of it. This technique is good because it allows you to get momentum to get even more hits in. And then for aggressive purling, that's a little self-explanatory. Just purl to your enemy when you know he's low. Also, if you're being aggressive, you should also go for a bunch of crits. Now we can finally move on to the other playstyle. The playstyle being passive. Passive players usually heals a lot and uses shield a lot, and also uses Turtle Master. To play like a passive player, they use a technique called saturation management. Saturation is the gold hunger outlines that you get every single time you eat any food inside of the game. What these golden outlines do is fastly regenerate you at low health. Also, if you're playing passive, I recommend draining as your main source of gameplay. Now for the next playstyle. The next being Survivor. Survivor likes using the technique Saturation Management while also trying to keep their distance with combos. To play like a Survivor, we'll need to learn Strafing. The technique Strafing is using unpredictable movement in order to throw your enemy off aim so you can get an easy combo. To do a combo, use a technique named S-tapping. S-tapping is where you do a sprint hit and then immediately back up in order to do another sprint hit, allowing you to get an easy combo. But now that we're here, there's actually one more thing that Survivor playstylers use in order to secure a win. See, in Minecraft, axes do a lot of damage to armor, so using that, you can easily break someone's armor inside of a fight. Oh my god, I'm finally done with this video. Now all I have to do is just click upload. Let's see. And now all I have to do is just click the button to upload the video. Wait. Was the button all the green one or the red one? I'm pretty sure it was the red one. Okay. And then we go here. Wait. Oh no.